everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we are in part number 4 of Fallout the board game. That's right, we've unveiled about half the board to this point, and I'm just going to go over a couple things, very minor things, gameplay-wise, that I've done just incorrectly, or just things I want to make mention of so that there's no rules confusion. So essentially, I had two individuals who actually pointed some really great corrections from the last video. The first one actually isn't a correction in terms of, actually both of them aren't corrections in terms of breaking gameplay, but they're just good and nice to know. So essentially, the first one is the quest markers. So you'll notice in the last video, I talked a lot about kind of putting the quest markers on the quest cards and then pinpointing where they're supposed to, it's just basically trying to use them as a guide as to where you should go to complete that particular quest. Now, essentially in the rules, and I knew this, in the rules, you're not supposed to use them like this, but the only reason I'm doing it like this for this playthrough on camera is because I just thought it would make the whole connection of the quest in the staged area to where the quest belongs on the map or the availability of it a little bit easier for you guys to understand. So essentially from your perspective right now, you can clearly see that Bunker Hill, for instance, in the far left, has a little token right there, but it also corresponds to downtown Boston area here, so you know that if I choose to go ahead with Bunker Hill, we've got to go there. Now again, normally inside of this game, if you're playing off camera, the game itself will tell you when you're supposed to drop these particular quest tokens down to denote there's an item or something there that you need to go achieve. If it doesn't say to do so, then you don't do it. But essentially, so I am kind of using them a little bit unorthodox for what they're actually written for in the rules. Just wanted to make mention of that so you guys understand. It doesn't break the gameplay in any way whatsoever, but it's just something to note. So that's one thing. The other thing was, I had noticed, and this is the correct token, before this I had a well-rested trait. Still have it. This was not the token I had in there for the last couple videos. I actually ended up having this one right here, which is the idolized trait, which is on the opposite side of the vilified trait. So essentially I had the wrong one in there. So it's a quick switch. It doesn't change or impact any gameplay, but at least it clarifies that this is the well-rested token when you decide to, or when you actually gain that well-rested trait. So with that in mind, what we should do, and this is what I'm thinking, I also want to talk a little bit about agenda cards before we move forward here, because as of right now, we want to get an understanding of how many influence points I have, what I need to get, where I'm going, that type of thing. So currently, the actual faction track, we have this particular railroad sitting here, and then we have the Institute here. We are definitely siding with the Institute currently, but we don't have to, but we are siding with them to avoid having to fight all their faction members, which happen to be all over the board. So that's helping us. We also pulled two identical cards last time, and we had a little bit of a conversation, or at least I did with myself. I also asked you guys to kind of ping me back and let me know if it's a valid thing to have two cards of the same. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner there's a 1+ on both of these cards, meaning that they are valid for solo play. So you can potentially get these two in a row, and if you do, and actually in all the plays I did outside of this camera, or outside of this video, before I filmed this, I'd never run into this situation, so of course this would happen on camera when I actually don't know how to resolve it. But I just want to let you guys know you can actually get the bonus ×2 for these two particular cards. So there's nothing in the rules that state you can't. So in other words, when it says here for each space that the Institute has advanced further than the railroad, I'd get an influence point. I'm actually getting double those influence points, which is crazy. Obviously, these cards by themselves stand for 1 influence point and 1 influence point, so that's 2. Plus this one here, which I have flipped over. The only reason being is because we haven't aligned ourselves with the railroad. So it's just really the polar opposite of this card, so I just left it on its side. So really I have 1, 2, 3 influence just with cards alone, because they're always worth 1. And then because the Institute is 1 on the track further ahead than the railroad, we get an extra bonus point for this one and this one, meaning we have a total of 5 influence when we need 11 to win. So we simply really just need to get this Institute marker further ahead on the track. If we can increase the Institute and side with it and beef it up even more, we can actually outrun, hopefully, the railroad and kind of help them take control of the Commonwealth, and we end up winning if we can get to 11 influence points. So what I was looking at in terms of what I'm going to do next is Bunker Hill, because we talked about this in the last video, but this particular card here, I'll read it for you so you guys understand what was there. But it says, with the Institute's agents hunting railroad members in the field, the railroad has managed to free a large group of synths. They are looking for a way out of the Commonwealth. So we're choosing to locate the synth safe house before they escape, and that safe house, as denoted by the quest tokens here, which I'm using improperly, but doing so for your visual pleasure, is denoted to be in downtown Boston. So we have to head there, and when we get there, we have to make sure that wherever we go, in order to do this top objective, that we encounter a level 3 or higher wasteland encounter until you locate the synth. So we basically have to keep digging through this deck until we find it, This symbol happens to be on downtown Boston and it is higher than 3. So we can go right to where our objectives should be and then just start funneling through and hoping to find what we need. If we take a look at the bottom one there, which we won't do, but this is the opposite. If we wanted to kind of reverse things and kind of help the railroad out, we do the bottom portion. I think this makes the most sense for us to get the quickest amount of influence, because remember, if we go up 2 on the track, we're going to get double those points for every single one we go up. Plus, if you technically move this thing up 2, you're actually up 1, 2, 3 positions. So you'd be getting 3 points for the first agenda card and bonus, and 3 points again. That's 6. 7, 8, 9. We'd be 2 away if we can complete this quest where this particular token stays in the same spot, I hope. If it does, we're golden. So let's go with that train of thought. Hopefully that wasn't too much yammering on, but at least now you understand my train of thought and what I'm doing. So it's going to be my turn to start off this this video. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually try to make a take the shortest way possible to get to downtown Boston. I do know the Super Mutant Skirmisher is hunting me. I can tell that I have 1 activation worth to deal with him before he'll get to downtown Boston, so I should be okay. So eventually I'm going to activate him to do some movement here. So 2 movement points, I'm going to have him move to here. You can see right on the edge here, these actually touch, and that's the reason I went to this one and not here. Quicker movement and less movement points spent, so I'm basically all the way here. Second movement point brings me to the railroad. Third movement point will take me here because the railroad doesn't connect to downtown Boston. And then lastly, I'm now in downtown Boston with my entire turn spent. So on the next turn for us, we can go ahead and try to encounter something here. That'll be the fun part. So at this point now, our turn is done. We'll go ahead and flip the agenda card, see what happens on the board in terms of enemies. This should be pleasant. I doubt it. All right, so we got the DNA symbol. Okay, so the DNA symbol is going to activate that super mutant, and I don't have any other ones on the board, so he's basically coming at us, so he's on his way over. So we've got to interact with this thing, and then we've got to stay to the outside of this and kind of run away from him. I'm playing chicken with him right now because I really don't have the equipment that I really feel like I need to take him down without taking crazy amounts of damage. So being the Ghoul, if I was maybe someone with the power armor, for instance, like this character here, if I had to choose him, I doubt he'd be running. He'd probably be running towards the super mutant to do something for him. But when you're playing the Ghoul and you don't have a gun and you only have some weak armor, you got to do what you got to do. So we've arrived here. The turn is now done. For the enemies, we come back to us. We can go ahead and activate. So I'm going to go ahead and activate. We're going to go ahead and do that encounter. So we're going to go ahead and choose to do an encounter in downtown Boston. And essentially, it says here, encounter 3 or higher until you locate synth. So we're hoping that we find the card that we added into that deck. I do know that it should be, well, it's for sure it's in the top 2 cards. And the only other one that's going to be in there is the one that relates to a prior quest we've already completed. So depending on which one we get, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. So here we go. Let's see what happens. And oh, we got it. We got it. 22. This is the one we wanted. So it says right here, what does it say? If at a level 2 or lower wasteland encounter, the next encounter the next card. And we aren't. So thankfully we're at a 4. So we're above. We're good there. And then add this card. So we can ignore this whole text now. So it says, you are caught in the middle of a firefight since soldiers are systematically advancing on a small band of railroad members, defending a group of huddling people. Interesting. They're systematically advancing on a small band of railroad members. That's awesome. So we can, we're just going to go take them out. So we're going to definitely try to help them. We have 2 choices. We can help the railroad. We can help the Institute. We can, you can't afford to be caught in the battle right now. Run the other direction. No, not going to happen. So right there, you can even see the card. If we succeed, references Bunker Hill, which is what we're doing here. So we're definitely going for this one here. We want to complete it. So we're going to go ahead and we want to be able to get the advantage here. So we want to help the Institute to boost our influence. So it says right here, draw and fight. So we're going to have to fight one of the faction tokens. So we'll pull one out essentially because a faction token basically comes out, and we're going to have to fight it now. And then go from there. It says we actually have succeed or fail conditions, and that's on the fight. So we have to actually do this, otherwise I believe this card goes back. Yeah, you add it back in. So basically the fight just rages on. So you're like constantly trying to get this thing done. So we gotta hope we can pull this off. Hopefully my well-rested trait will come in handy for rerolls if we need it. But we're fighting one of the railroad members, and that happens to be the railroad member right here. X is what we're looking for in terms of what we're going to be talking about, and X right now is 2. So their railroad member is at a 2, so that's all we need. We need a headshot or leg shot, so that's what I'm going for right now. I'm going to take a quick look to see if I have anything items-wise that'll help me out. During a test or fight that uses S or E exhaust to add 1 hit. That's not going to help me, and the test doesn't call for those, so that's not going to help me. Raider armor is not going to help me right now. So really, my well rested would allow me to roll a die if I happen to roll poorly, but I might need to use it. So we'll see how this kind of pans out. So here we go. We're looking for, as I said before, head and legs that we're hoping for, and not taking too much damage, I hope. Let's see how this goes. Oh, that's good. Head and leg. I think we're good. I think we got it. Yeah, we got 2 with legs. We didn't get any headshots, but we got 2 with legs, so that's good. And again, I'd love to re-roll that and try not to get so much damage, but I think I have to suck it up because I don't want to lose the chance. I don't want to lose the chance of failing on this encounter. So I'm going to take this right now. So this is going to be 3 hits coming at me. Again, remember, those 3 hits have to be times by your level. So that's going to be 6 hits coming at me. So I'm down to 3. That is a huge smack. I do have, when you camp, you may discard this card to recover 8 additional HP. That's really crazy. So I might need to eat some steak after this fight in order to try to, survive. But I also kind of want to move because I don't want to be close. Yeah, I'm going to be moving probably. And maybe resting at the beginning of my next turn. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. So I've gone ahead and I've completely killed off this enemy. I've also taken the damage. So we want to make sure that we actually get the experience for that. So that's going to be 2 experience coming to me. There's no loot on the particular enemy, so we'll take the 2 experience right now. So first off, we'll move from an L, and we're leveling up, which is awesome. So we leveled up, and we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to go ahead and grab a perk, 2 perk letters, and see what we get. We got E and P. Okay, so we have P already, and this is where things get interesting. So when you have, when you draw a letter that you already have, if you choose to take that letter, then essentially what it allows you to do is you don't put the letter obviously in your slot because you've already got it. You actually go to the perk deck and look up perception, and then you get to choose one of the perks, which is kind of like a one-time use power type thing. But E is also really good because E would go along with, well, this one says during a test or fight that uses SRE, so that, I don't know. And I do know there's agenda cards out there that if you have your entire roll filled out, that also gives you bonus points. So it's like that might be, it might be good to try to get that, but then an extra perk could be really good. So, you know what, I'm going to skip it. Let's take the perk. I want to show you guys what like that would look like. So, I don't know, normally maybe I'd try to fill this out, but I'm going to go for the perk. Let's, just to be a little exciting. So let's go find the P's here. So that's going to be a couple in, yeah, these ones right here. So we're going to grab 2 of them. I think there's only 2. Yeah, there's 2 per, and I'm sure with like future expansions for the game, they'll add more to this deck, so this will become more flushed out. But right now I have 2 to choose from. So one is the Night Person perk. So discard to place your figure in any space on the map. Then you may perform a fight, quest, or encounter action. That's incredible. That would be perfect for me right now because it would allow me to immediately go ahead and do something. Oh, that'd be great. I could get away from the super mutant. I could place myself somewhere really handy. I could even drop myself far away. I could put myself in a rad spot. Like I could do all kinds of things. That's great. I think I might be taking that. The other one is Sniper. Discard to be a sniper. Until the end of your turn, you can target any enemy on the map when you fight using a ranged weapon. The enemy does not inflict. Oh, crazy. So, in other words, if I had a really good ranged weapon, which I do not have, and stuff like that, then I could have potentially taken a shot at the super mutant from where I am in downtown Boston. That's really thematic and kind of cool. I would have been able to kind of pick him off in the distance, or I could pick off anybody on the board at all, but I mean, he's the biggest threat. But I think for me right now, Night Person makes the most sense. So I'm going to go with that. And I can discard it when I choose to use it, essentially. So it's going to allow me to use that perk when I want to. So I'll just kind of put it over here. Actually, I'll just put it to the side right here so we remember we have it. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. So that was only 1 XP, and then the second XP would get us to P. So now we're at P. All right. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now, what are we going to do? Let's see here. Okay, so let's finish off the quest. That's right, that's where we were. So the quest has ended, and we've succeeded. So you easily eliminate the rebels and decommission the escaped synths. Nice. Complete objective... complete objective 1 of Bunker Hill. Perfect. Trash. Okay, so this card's going to go in the trash. We completed objective 1, which is this one here. Objective 1 is right there. So it says we've done that. So now that we've completed it, it says +2 on the faction track. That's awesome. So this now bumps 1, 2. So now we've got all that extra space, which is amazing. That's going to give us tons of influence points. So as I counted out earlier in the video, we're 3 spaces ahead. So we essentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 influence points, guys. We just need 2 more and we win this scenario. As long as we can keep that silly road, the railroad from going up that faction track, we're okay. And then it says stage 24 and 157, then trash this card. So I'm going to now take these markers off because we're not going to need them denoting this particular quest anymore. Take this bunker card, it's going to get trashed, and I'm going to grab 24. Well, that worked out really well. Went split right to 24, which is derailed. So we'll put some quest tokens on it, but I don't know which one I'm going to be tracking yet, so we'll see. We're going to have to read these. And then the other one is 157, so a decent ways into the deck. So I'll just go a little further here. Wow, that's basically at the bottom for the most part, which is why it's taking me so long to grab it. I'll put it underneath just to kind of let everyone know that these are kind of in parallel, or been going in parallel anyway. So Bunker Hill now, as we know, has been trashed. The trash note's right there, so we'll throw that out. It's taken out of the game. Okay, let's read these 2 cards and find out what we have for options. Now remember, guys, I started my turn here in Downtown Boston. My first thing to do was to encounter the Wasteland thing. So I've only used 1 action. I still have another action after we read these. Plus, I gained that amazing Night Person condition, which allows me to essentially move to anywhere in the map and then do a fight, a quest, or an encounter. So I've got lots of choices this turn. Incredible. So I might even be able to pull off a win this quickly. We'll see. This one's insanity. You can see here I can get an absolutely obscene amount of... Oh, but the other thing is too, if I push the faction track too high up, then the downside is the game is lost. So there's the balance in the game, guys. Just so you guys are aware of this. And my excitement's kind of gotten over me a little bit. But essentially, yeah, it's cool to get me here. But if I ever push a certain faction over the edge, like to the end, so if I was to push it to here, or I was to push it off the map, then essentially that faction kind of takes over and wins the game. So I've already pushed that faction as much as I possibly want it to go. So at this point, I need to get agenda cards is what I need to be focusing on. Not so much cards that are going to give me any more influence, because I'll push that particular faction into the win column, essentially. So I'm going to probably ignore going ahead with the derailed one, because it's just going to increase them right off the map. So I won't bother reading it, but you can actually read it right there if you want to. Anyway, the other one here below it is can't touch this. So this one might be a little better for me. It says if we go to the Pendleton Estate, we can do a couple things like, this one says, Mietner and Somerville have been rivals for years. What started as a small dispute has escalated to a violent feud. This time he's crafted an indestructible bunker, and Somerville is fixing up something she found in the wasteland to bust inside the bunker. So we can either steal the prototype, or we can help Somerville fix up her device. Now I get an agenda card from the top one, but not the bottom one. Although I get a cool super sledge unique asset. That's kind of interesting. Okay, well, what other ones will give me some agenda cards? Drain the Swamp. We talked about this one, I think, before. We got to find the Super Mutant Camp. Oh, we're in trouble here, guys, because this is what's going to happen. We're going to have to go to something we know. So, for instance, Pendleton, like, you can see here, if we succeed this one, we get an agenda card. Cool, but we don't know where it is yet. We got to find that estate on this map here somewhere first. Second off, if we go here, we got to find Robco Factory or Super Mutant Camp. Same with this, Robco Factory. So we don't have any of those revealed yet. We haven't found them. Red Rocket Station, haven't found it. Vault 84, haven't found it. This is the only one we can do, which is the Children of the Atom quest. Is actually really good for me because, first off, I'm a ghoul, so this makes perfect sense for me. It says a missionary stands in the street preaching a new religion called the Children of Atom. Many followers gather at the Hoffman Farm, inviting all to embrace Adam's glow. Now, yes, the Hoffman Farm is the first one, but if I don't want to do that one, I can do the bottom one. The bottom one says the word of Adam calls to you, embrace the glow. I just got to go to basically a place with rads. So I just have to go to something like this, essentially. And if I go here and land here and make a check and I get 3 pips, I succeed at this. So I'm going to probably do that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to use that Night Person perk that I got, which says discard to place your figure on any space on the map. So my ghoul is going to travel from downtown Boston at night all the way to his wonderful rat-infested area. Now, when I land in this position, when I first enter it, I automatically would take rad damage, but because I'm the ghoul, I'm going to gain 1 health. So that's a nice little bonus. And then on top of it says, then you may perform a fight, quest, or encounter action. Well, I'm going to do a quest action for this right here to try to get this check. I need to get 3 successes. I can reroll on E if I happen to have it, which I don't, but I do have a well-rested trait, so we'll see how this pans out. The Night Person card is discarded. I don't get to keep it. So now we're going to roll some dice and see if I can get 3 pips. And if I can, then I'm great. If I can't, then I have 1 reroll. Shoot! Okay, so we got 2. We got 2. So we're gonna have to use that well-rested trait now. We gotta cross our fingers for the last pip. Got it. We got the 3 we needed. Awesome. So we did it. What does that mean for us? Suffer 2 rads. Well, guess what? My character loves to suffer rads, and anytime he does, according to his Ghoul Survivor Identity card, says right here, when you would suffer rads, recover that amount of HP instead. So this is actually healing me at the same time. It's perfect. Oh, I love being the ghoul. Okay, and then we're going to get an influence, or an agenda card, I should say. So let's flip the agenda card over, see what we get. This could actually help us win the game right now if we get what we need. For each space, the shield has advanced further than it. Oh, what? We got it. That's it. We did it. With these 3 cards, we've got what we need right now. I mean, I'll finish it out, but I think we just won. So essentially, we also stage 96. There's no point in me showing that and spoiling that for you, because I think we're gonna win here anyway. But essentially, this card is now trashed. Another card would come out hypothetically, but it's still my turn. And so on my turn, because I still have 1 action, because remember we did our encounter here, we used the Night Person to come here. The Night Person also allowed us to do a quest action for free, which completed the quest. We still have an action to spend. We still are on our turn. So at the end of the day, I can reveal right now that I have enough influence to win the game. Let's just do a double check to make sure I'm not going crazy. But yes, I managed to somehow get 3 cards that are literally identical, I think, for each space. That's insanity. Okay, so basically we got a separation here of 1, 2, 3. So just with these 3 cards alone is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 influence, guys. We did it. That's it. That's all there is to it for the Commonwealth scenario for the Ghoul. So he did not have too bad of a time, really. Although I did get quite lucky at a couple points where the Super Mutant was getting really close to me. But I have heard online, guys, and there's some chatter, so I do want to talk about this for a second. Obviously, as you play through other scenarios, these all don't play out the same. So there's other scenario cards you're going to see. They're going to be different. They're going to have different factions they're going to be dealt with. They're going to handle a little differently in the faction track, or they might handle a little differently throughout the scenario. But one of the things I've heard online in terms of solo play is that sometimes this can happen where you can actually get this. I've never had this happen yet, so this is pretty crazy, because there is a decent pile of agenda cards over here, and I just happen to... Like, the chance of getting all 3 of those is like, I don't know what that is, but it's not that high, I don't think. But anyway, it can happen. And if it does, of course, I ended up getting another one here. And just so you know, the limit for in terms of how many agenda cards you can actually have in general is 4. So I never went over 4, and if I had them, I would have immediately had to discard down to 4. So I'm fine regardless. But I just happened to get exactly the agenda cards that lined up with my main goal, which was keeping separation here, which I did very well. So it kind of lined up perfectly for me. But I've heard people online say that this seems kind of quick and easy, an easy way to make it work or to win. I don't think this is going to work for you every single time, but I have heard people say if you want to make the game harder on yourself, you could just say that only the ones that are unique count. So in other words, you can't have doubles. If you want to play like that, that's perfectly fine, because that will escalate the level of tension and difficulty within the game just exponentially. Because I've played this through before we did this playthrough right now, and I never had this type of situation work out for me. Typically, I've had to brutally just continue on trying to find what I need, and it wasn't as easy. This seemed pretty quick. I only did 4 parts of this playthrough, but I can tell you, if you wanted to kind of tweak the rules, you are playing solo, to make the game more difficult, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's up to you. You can do that based on the scenario. But again, the Commonwealth is the Commonwealth scenario. Other scenarios will have you doing other things. You'll see other quest cards and all that good stuff. But anyway, I hope this really helped you get the game to the table. That was my main goal, was to show you how to play, how some of the mechanics work, how the monsters move, how they attack. I think we covered pretty much everything. I don't think there's a single card on here we didn't touch. I'd say the only ones we never saw in action too much was we didn't shop all that much. So normally if we had gone to an encounter space, we went into an encounter and it said that we could shop, which I don't remember if we did or not. We might have at one point way early on. But essentially you just pull one extra card off the top and you can shop from a total of 5 different cards. If you have like a perk letter that matches a card, you can automatically acquire it. If you have caps to buy something, you can automatically buy it. It'll tell you how many times you can shop, so it'll say like shop 2 or shop 1. That means there's limits to how much you can shop when you go. You can't just go to a settlement or an encounter or to a wasteland and just say, I'm shopping. It's not how it works in this game. The game will tell you when you can. The other thing we didn't talk too much about because we never ran into it, but we saw it on a quest card. One of these, and I don't remember which one it was, said that we could gain a unique item. This is a unique item. So these would be the really cool items, which I'm not going to spoil, that essentially if you go after certain quests, will give you those nice, amazing weapons. So in a game where, in this case, I didn't need it because I just planned things out really well and I also got really lucky with these 3. If I really needed to take that super mutant down, I might have tried to go after some unique items to hope to get the weapons I needed to take him down. So it's just one less person coming after me. But again, so many different variables in this game, so it was fun. I really did enjoy it. I can't wait to play it again. I want to go through another scenario, see how it changes and what evolves through it. Again, I'm a big Fallout fan from the video game already, so in my brain, as I'm playing this on the table, I'm already connecting the dots with the story and stuff. Hopefully I did a good enough job letting you guys know about stuff as we went along, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thanks so much for following along in Fallout the board game, and as always, keep on rolling solo.